At a large distance r from a radio antenna, the intensity of the radio signal I is related to the power of the signal P by the formula above. Which of the following expresses the square of the distance from the radio antenna in terms of the intensity of the radio signal and the power of the signal? This is another sciencey question, but if we stay with math, it's actually pretty straightforward. Let's understand that r is the distance from the antenna, and I is a concept of intensity of radio signal, and P stands for power of the signal. And we don't necessarily need to understand all of these concepts as far as we understand that there is an antenna and there is a certain distance away from antenna, at which point maybe that signal is measured, for example. If we look at the question and actually drop a look at the answer choices, we can see that the question wants us to find what r squared in this formula would be. And since we're given the main formula, it at the end of the day comes down to our skill of manipulation and isolating r squared in this formula. If you don't look at the answer choices and are trying to figure out what they want from you from the verbal part of the question, then you just need to slow down and to understand that distance is r, and the square of the distance would be r squared. Or, like I said, just drop a look at the answer choices and see that they actually want you to find r squared. Let's start with the original formula. R equals P over 4 pi r squared. And to isolate r squared, we need to get it out of the denominator form. And a good way to do so would be to multiply both sides by r squared. So once we have r squared in the numerator and in the denominator, it will cancel out on the right side and it will appear on the left side. And once we do that, we get the situation of r squared times I equals P divided by 4 pi. In this case, since we're trying to isolate r squared, I needs to go to the other side. And the best way to do so would be to divide both sides by I. Since r squared is multiplied by I, the reverse action would be to divide by I. And ultimately, we get it as r squared equals P over 4 pi I. Looking at the answer choices, we can see that answer choice B has it in exactly the same form, and this will be our answer.